Welcome to This Day and Everything Cool for March 23rd. On this day in 1993, a Nintendo icon sucked up consoles for the first time. The platforming game Kirbys Adventure was released on the NES, the second game in the series, and the first to be released on a console. It was also the first Kirby title to include the copy feature, where the lovable pink blob absorbs the abilities of his devoured enemies, something that now seems impossible to imagine Kirby without. Kirbys Adventure was one of the last big games that Nintendo released on the original NES, given that the SNES had already been released 2 years earlier. Kirby made the jump to that platform a year later. Another big franchise began on March 23, 2004 because the very first Far Cry game was released on the PC. Developed by Crytek and published by Ubisoft, Far Cry was notable for its stunning graphics, which looked far better than most video games at the time, with Crytek using the game to show off the capabilities of their new Cry engine. It was also a pretty fun game, with players taking the role of ex-Special Forces soldier Jack Carver, who washes up on a deadly tropical island controlled by genetically altered bad guys. The game was a success, and Ubisoft took control of the franchise to develop a sequel that came out 4 years later. They've since turned Far Cry into one of their most valuable properties. March 23, 2001 was the date of a very explosive space odyssey. The Russian space station Mir, which had been launched into orbit 15 years earlier, ended its mission by intentionally decaying its orbit and burning up in Earth's atmosphere. The aging station had been decommissioned a few months earlier, and the Russian Space Agency decided to let it burn up rather than just have it keep floating around as space garbage. Burning up in the atmosphere is also totally badass. Mir has the distinction of being humanity's very first space station, allowing astronauts to live in orbit for months at a time, and it also marked an important step towards space cooperation, with the Russians welcoming American and European astronauts aboard. Mir was a precursor to the current International Space Station, which is still up there to this day.